Nathan Hayes sat in the hospital corridor at 2 in the morning, staring at a medical bill he couldn't pay and a father he couldn't save, when his phone lit up with a message that would either destroy his life or save it. The text came from Isabella Laurent, billionaire CEO, untouchable boss, a woman who had never spoken to him directly in 3 years, and it contained 5 words that made his hands shake. I need you to marry me. If you want to see how a desperate single father and a powerful CEO turned a fake marriage into something real, stay until the end. And please, hit that like button and drop a comment with your city so I can see how far this story travels. Nathan Hayes had exactly $47 in his checking account when the hospital called to tell him his father had 3 months to live without immediate treatment. He stood in the parking lot of Laurent Automotive Group's main repair facility, grease still under his fingernails, phone pressed against his ear while Dr. Patel explained in careful, professional terms that stage 4 pancreatic cancer didn't care about payment plans or good intentions. The treatment protocol we're recommending runs approximately $300,000 over 6 months, Dr. Patel said. We can discuss financing options, but Mr. Hayes, I need to be honest with you. Time is critical here. Nathan looked down at his oil-stained uniform, at the name patch that read Nate in red stitching. 32 years old, widowed at 27. Single father to an 8-year-old girl who still asked when mommy was coming home even though she knew the answer. How long does he have without treatment? Nathan asked quietly. The pause on the other end told him everything. Weeks, maybe a month. Nathan ended the call and sat down on the curb between a Lexus and a BMW, both waiting for minor repairs he'd complete tomorrow for customers who wouldn't think twice about the bill. He pressed his palms against his eyes and tried to remember how to breathe. His phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. Mr. Hayes, this is Isabella Laurent. I need to speak with you privately. Tonight. It's urgent. Nathan stared at the screen. Isabella Laurent didn't send text messages to mechanics. Isabella Laurent probably didn't know his name beyond what appeared on payroll reports. She was the 30-year-old CEO who ran a billion-dollar automotive empire her grandfather built. The kind of woman who wore designer suits that cost more than Nathan's monthly rent, who moved through the executive offices like cold wind. He'd seen her exactly 3 times in 3 years. Once during a company-wide meeting. Once when her Mercedes needed an oil change and she waited in the VIP lounge, never looking up from her phone. Once when she walked past him in the parking garage and he'd held the door and she'd said thank you without meeting his eyes. I think you have the wrong number, Nathan typed back. 3 dots appeared immediately. Then, Nathan Hayes, mechanic, daughter named Mia, father currently at Mercy General Hospital. I don't have the wrong number. I need to see you tonight, 8 p.m. My office. Please. Nathan felt something cold move through his chest. How did she know about Mia, about his father? Why? The response came instantly. Because we can help each other, and because I'm desperate. Nathan picked up Mia from his neighbor Elena's apartment at 6:30, grateful again that Elena never complained about the irregular hours, never asked for more than the $50 a week he could barely afford. Daddy, you're late, Mia said, looking up from the kitchen table where she'd been doing homework. She had her mother's dark eyes, her mother's stubborn chin. I know, baby. I'm sorry. Elena made spaghetti. She said you probably didn't eat lunch again. Nathan looked at Elena, who shrugged. She's not wrong. Thank you, Nathan said quietly. Elena followed him to the door while Mia gathered her backpack. Nate, are you okay? You look... I'm fine. You're a terrible liar. She lowered her voice. Is it your dad? Nathan nodded once. Elena touched his arm. If you need anything, I know. Thank you. Mia talked the entire drive home about a science project on weather patterns and how her friend Jake thought tornadoes were made by clouds getting angry. Nathan made the appropriate sounds, asked the right questions, but his mind kept circling back to that text message. I'm desperate. Isabella Laurent, billionaire, CEO, untouchable, was desperate. What the hell could she possibly need from a mechanic? Tis. Nathan left Mia with Elena again at 7:30, promising he'd be back before bedtime, trying not to see the worry in his daughter's eyes when he kissed her forehead. The Laurent building's executive floor was empty when Nathan stepped off the elevator at 8 p.m., his work boots too loud on polished marble floors. He changed into jeans and the one button-down shirt he owned that didn't have stains, but he still felt like an oil smudge on expensive paper. Isabella's office sat at the end of a long hallway, behind glass doors that probably cost more than his truck. Through them, Nathan could see her silhouette against floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. He knocked. "Come in." Nathan pushed open the door and stepped into a space that felt more like a museum than an office. Minimalist furniture, abstract art on white walls, everything clean, cold, perfect. Isabella stood by the windows, still wearing a black suit, her dark hair pulled back severely. She didn't look at him immediately. "Close the door, please." Nathan did. "Would you like something to drink? Water? Coffee?" "I'm fine." "Miss Laurent, why am I here?" Finally, she turned. Up close, Nathan could see details he'd missed before. The shadows under her eyes, the tension in her shoulders, the way her hands were clasped too tightly in front of her. "How much do you know about my personal life, Mr. Hayes?" "Nothing. I fix cars." Something flickered across her face. Maybe respect, maybe relief. "I have a 7-year-old daughter, Sophia. My ex-husband, Victor Laurent, and I divorced 2 years ago. He's currently attempting to gain full custody." Nathan waited. "Victor is persuasive, wealthy, connected. And he's building a case that I'm an unfit mother because I'm unmarried, because I work too much, because I'm—" She stopped, jaw tight. "He's painting me as a cold, career-obsessed woman who can't provide a stable family environment. Can you?" Isabella's eyes narrowed. "Excuse me? Can you provide a stable family environment? I love my daughter, Mr. Hayes." "That's not what I asked." For a moment, they stared at each other. Then Isabella's shoulders dropped half an inch. "No," she said quietly. "I can't. Not the way the court defines it. I work 80-hour weeks. Sophia has nannies instead of a mother most days. I miss school events. I forget lunches. I'm exactly what Victor says I am." "Then what do you want from me?" Isabella walked to her desk, picked up a folder and held it out. "I want you to marry me." Nathan didn't take the folder. "What?" "A marriage. Temporary. 1 year. You move into my house with your daughter. We present a united front. Stable family. 2 parents. 2 children. I win custody. You get paid." "You're insane." "I'm desperate." Isabella set the folder down, pressing her palms flat against the desk. "Victor's hearing is in 3 weeks. My lawyers say I'm going to lose without evidence of a stable home life. And I won't let him take my daughter." Nathan shook his head. "This is crazy. You don't even know me." "I know enough." Isabella opened the folder, pulled out several pages. "Nathan Hayes, 32, widowed 5 years ago when your wife died in a car accident. Raised your daughter alone while working 60-hour weeks. Never missed a rent payment, never been arrested, never gave your daughter anything less than complete devotion despite having almost nothing." She looked up. "I know you're a good father, Mr. Hayes. That's all I need to know." "How did you—" "I had you investigated, along with 12 other candidates. You were the only one who was both clean and desperate enough to consider this." Nathan felt anger rising in his chest. "You had me investigated?" "Yes, without my knowledge. Yes. And you think I'm desperate enough to agree to this?" "Your father has stage 4 pancreatic cancer. The treatment costs approximately $300,000. You have $47 in your checking account." Isabella's voice was steady, clinical. "Yes, Mr. Hayes, I think you're desperate enough." Nathan wanted to walk out, wanted to tell this billionaire CEO exactly what she could do with her money and her investigation and her cold, calculated proposal. But he thought about his father, about Dr. Patel's voice on the phone, about the word weeks. "What's the catch?" "No catch. We sign a contract. You move in with your daughter. We attend family therapy, school events, custody hearings. We present as a normal married couple for 1 year. After the custody battle is resolved, we quietly divorce. You walk away with payment. How much?" "Full coverage of your father's medical treatment, plus $200,000 cash." Ew. Nathan's knees almost gave out. "Why so much?" "Because I need this to work. Because if you get caught lying, we both lose everything. And because Isabella's voice cracked just slightly. Because my daughter is worth more than money, and I think you understand that. Nathan stared at her, really looked at her. Behind the expensive suit in the cold office, he saw what she was trying to hide. Terror. Raw, desperate terror. Why me? He asked quietly. You could hire an actor, someone trained to do this. I need someone real. Someone who knows what it means to fight for their child. Someone who won't break under pressure. Isabella met his eyes. And someone who has as much to lose as I do. Nathan walked to the windows, looked out at the city lights. Somewhere down there, his daughter was doing homework at a neighbor's table. His father was dying in a hospital bed. If I say yes, what happens? We get married at the courthouse this Friday. You and Mia move into my house this weekend. We file the marriage certificate with the court on Monday. The custody hearing is 3 weeks from today. That's fast. It has to be. Nathan turned around. And after the custody battle? You stay for the full year. That's the contract. Any shorter, and it looks suspicious. After that, you're free to go. The money is yours regardless. What if your ex-husband finds out this is fake? He can't. The contract stays between us and our lawyers. No one else knows. Not my daughter, not yours. To everyone else, this is real. Nathan felt the weight of it settling on his shoulders. A year of his life. A year of lying to his daughter. A year pretending to be married to a woman he didn't know. But his father would live. Mia would never have to watch her grandfather die because they couldn't afford to save him. I need to think about it. You have 24 hours. Isabella walked back to her desk, wrote something on a business card, and handed it to him. My private number. Call me by tomorrow night with your answer. Nathan took the card, felt the expensive paper between his fingers. Mr. Hayes, Isabella said as he reached the door. I know what I'm asking is insane. I know you don't trust me, but I promise you this. I will pay for your father's treatment regardless of your answer. Consider it. Compensation for the invasion of privacy. Nathan turned slowly. Why would you do that? Because I'm a mother too. And I understand what you're willing to do to protect your family. She paused. But if you walk away, my daughter loses hers. So please, think carefully. Nathan sat in his truck in the parking garage for 20 minutes before he could make himself drive home. $300,000. The words kept circling in his head like birds over a body. His phone rang. Elena. Nate, Mia's running a fever. Nothing serious, I don't think, but she's asking for you. Nathan closed his eyes. I'm on my way. He found Mia curled up on Elena's couch, wrapped in blankets, her face flushed. She reached for him immediately. Daddy, my throat hurts. I know, baby. Let's get you home. He carried her down to the truck, her head on his shoulder, her breathing warm against his neck. 8 years old and still small enough to carry. Still young enough to believe her father could fix everything. Daddy? Yeah? Is Grandpa going to die? Nathan's throat closed. Why would you ask that? I heard you on the phone at Elena's last week. Mia pulled back to look at him, her eyes too old, too knowing. I heard you say you couldn't afford the treatment. Nathan wanted to lie, wanted to protect her from this. But Mia had already lost her mother. She deserved the truth. Grandpa's very sick, honey. But you're going to save him, right? Her voice was so small, so full of faith. You always fix things. Nathan held her tighter. I'm going to try. Promise? He thought about Isabella Laurent's offer, about the card in his pocket, about the word desperate. I promise. Nathan called the next night at 7 p.m. after Mia had gone to bed with her fever finally broken. Isabella answered on the first ring. Mr. Hayes, I have conditions. A pause. I'm listening. My daughter doesn't know this is fake. Not ever. You want to sell this to the court? We sell it to everyone. That means treating Mia like she's yours too. Agreed. I don't touch the $200,000 until my father's healthy. That money goes into a trust for Mia's college. I don't want it. Mr. Hayes, those are my conditions. Another pause, longer this time. You're either very noble or very stupid. Maybe both. Nathan stared at the ceiling of his cramped apartment, at the water stain that had been there when he moved in 5 years ago. But if I'm doing this, I'm doing it right. Mia's already lost one parent. I won't let her lose her childhood too. All right. Isabella's voice was softer now. Anything else? Yeah, one more thing. Nathan sat up. If this goes bad, if your ex-husband exposes us, if the court finds out, you protect Mia. She doesn't pay the price for our choices. That's non-negotiable. I'll add it to the contract. Your word, Miss Laurent. Not a contract. I need your word. Silence stretched between them. Then, you have it. I protect both our daughters, no matter what happens. On my life. Nathan exhaled slowly. Okay. Okay? I'll do it. I'll marry you. He could hear Isabella breathing on the other end, could almost feel her relief through the phone. Thank you, Mr. Hayes. Nathan, if we're getting married, you should probably call me Nathan. Nathan. She said it carefully, testing it out. And you can call me Isabella. We should probably get comfortable with first names. Yeah. Nathan laughed, a short, hollow sound. Probably should. Friday at 10 a.m. courthouse. Bring Mia. I'll bring Sophia. We'll tell them it's a small, intimate ceremony because we want family only. But si Isabella. Yes? Oh, what do we tell them about how we met? They're going to ask. Another pause. The truth. You work for my company. I noticed you during a facility inspection. We started talking. It was unexpected, but real. They're 8 and 7. They'll believe almost anything. Adults won't. Isabella's voice hardened slightly. We need to be convincing, Nathan. To everyone. I know. Do you? The question was sharp. Because if we fail, I lose my daughter, and you lose that money. Everyone loses. Nathan thought about Mia asleep in the next room, about his father in the hospital, about the weight of what he was about to do. I won't fail, he said quietly. I can't afford to. Nathan told Mia Thursday night over spaghetti, the same meal Elena had made the night his world changed. Baby, I need to talk to you about something important. Mia looked up from her plate, sauce on her chin. What? You know Miss Laurent, the lady who owns the company where Daddy works? The really pretty one who drives the fancy car? Nathan blinked. You've seen her? At the Christmas party last year, she gave me a candy cane. Mia shrugged. She didn't smile, though. She looked sad. Well, Ms. Laurent and we've been seeing each other, spending time together, and The words felt like glass in his throat. We're getting married tomorrow. Mia's fork clattered onto her plate. What? I know it's fast. I know it seems crazy, but sometimes when you meet the right person, you love her. Nathan looked at his 8-year-old daughter and lied for the first time in her life. Yes. But you loved Mommy. I did. I always will. But Mommy would want us to be happy, Mia, and Ms. Laurent makes me happy. She has a daughter your age. Sophia, you'll like her. Mia stared at him, her dark eyes searching his face for something. Truth, maybe, or betrayal. Are you doing this because of Grandpa? Nathan's chest tightened. What? Ms. Laurent is rich, really rich, and Grandpa needs medicine. Are you marrying her for money? The question cut deeper than any knife. Nathan reached across the table, took Mia's small hands in his. I'm marrying her because I care about her, because I think we can be a family. And yes, baby, she's helping with Grandpa's treatment, but that's what families do. They help each other. So Grandpa's going to be okay. He's going to get the treatment he needs. The doctors are very hopeful. Mia pulled her hands back, crossed her arms. I don't want a new mom. Isabella isn't trying to replace your mom. Nobody ever could. She's just someone new, someone who wants to be part of our lives. Do I have to call her Mom? You can call her Isabella. Do we have to move? Nathan hesitated. Yes, to her house. But you'll have your own room, a big one, and Sophia will be there. You'll have a sister. I don't want a sister. I want things to stay the same. Nathan stood up, walked around the table, and knelt beside Mia's chair. I know this is scary. I know it's fast. But I need you to trust me, okay? Have I ever let you down? Mia's eyes filled with tears. No. Then trust me now. We're going to be okay. All of us. She threw her arms around his neck and cried into his shoulder, and Nathan held her, feeling like the worst father in the world. Friday morning, Nathan stood in front of the courthouse in his only suit, the one he'd worn to his wife's funeral, and tried to remember how to breathe. Isabella arrived in a black Mercedes, stepping out in a simple cream dress that probably cost more than his car. She looked nervous, genuinely nervous. A little girl emerged from the back seat, dark hair, serious eyes, holding a small bouquet of flowers. Sophia. Mia pressed closer to Nathan's side. Hi, Isabella said quietly. Hi. They stared at each other for a moment, two desperate people about to make the biggest mistake of their lives. Sophia walked up to Mia, held out the flowers. My mom said you might want these for the wedding. Mia took them carefully. Thank you. I'm Sophia. You're going to be my sister now, I guess. I guess. The girls looked at each other with the solemn uncertainty of children being told their lives are changing and having no say in it. Isabella touched Nathan's arm lightly. Are you ready? No, you. Not even a little. She almost smiled. But we're doing it anyway. They walked into the courthouse together, 2 adults and 2 children, and became a family in the eyes of the law with a ceremony that lasted 8 minutes. The judge pronounced them married. Nathan kissed Isabella on the cheek because that's what you did. Her skin was cold. Mushasik. Isabella's house wasn't a house. It was a compound, a sprawling modern mansion set behind gates and security cameras, all glass and steel and empty space. Nathan's entire apartment could have fit in the living room. Jesus, he muttered, pulling his truck into the circular driveway behind Isabella's Mercedes. Mia pressed her face against the window. We're living here? Apparently. A woman in a gray uniform appeared at the front door. The housekeeper, Nathan assumed. Behind her, Nathan could see marble floors, a curved staircase, art on the walls that looked expensive and cold. Isabella got out of her car, opened the back door for Sophia. Welcome home. The words hung in the air, hollow and awkward. Home. This place was as far from home as the moon. Inside, the housekeeper, Mrs. Chen, Isabella introduced her, showed them upstairs to their rooms. Mia's was bigger than their entire old apartment, with a bed that could sleep 4, a desk by the window, shelves waiting to be filled. Do you like it? Isabella asked, standing in the doorway. Mia shrugged. It's big. If you want to change anything, different paint color, different furniture, we can do that. It's fine. Isabella looked at Nathan helplessly. He didn't know what to tell her. Sophia appeared in the doorway, holding a stuffed rabbit. Want to see my room? It's next door. Mia glanced at Nathan. He nodded. The girls left together, and suddenly Nathan was alone with his new wife in a mansion that felt like a museum. She'll adjust, Isabella said quietly. Yeah. Nathan, where's our room? Isabella's expression flickered. End of the hall. It's large. There's a sitting area. You can sleep on the couch if you want. We don't have to. I'll take the couch. Okay. They stood in uncomfortable silence. We should unpack, Nathan said finally. Get settled. Yes, right. Mrs. Chen made dinner. We usually eat at 6. Okay. Isabella started to leave, then stopped. Nathan, thank you for doing this. He looked at her, this beautiful, terrified billionaire who was paying him to pretend to love her, and felt something unexpected. Pity. We're helping each other, he said. That's what you said, so, you're welcome. Madis. Bota. Dinner was painful. They sat at a table built for 12, the 4 of them clustered at one end like survivors of a shipwreck. Mrs. Chen served roasted chicken and vegetables that tasted like nothing because Nathan's throat was too tight to process flavor. So, Isabella said, trying too hard to sound casual. Mia, your father tells me you're in third grade. Yes. Do you like school? It's okay. What's your favorite subject? Mia pushed food around her plate. Science. Sophia loves science too. Don't you, sweetie? Sophia nodded, equally miserable. I'm doing a project on volcanoes. Silence. Nathan cleared his throat. That's cool. Mia's doing weather patterns. Cool, Sophia echoed. More silence. Isabella set down her fork. Girls, I know this is strange. I know everything's changing very fast. But your father and I... She looked at Nathan. We want this to work. We want to be a family. And that's going to take time and patience from all of us. Can I be excused? Mia asked. Nathan's chest tightened. You haven't finished. I'm not hungry. Mia, let her go, Isabella said quietly. Mia left the table without looking back. A moment later, Sophia asked to be excused too. Then it was just Nathan and Isabella, sitting in a mansion that felt like a mausoleum. This was a mistake, Nathan said. It's the first day. She hates this. She hates me for bringing her here. She's scared. They both are. Isabella stood up, walked to the window. They'll adjust. You keep saying that because it's true. She turned around. My daughter hasn't had a father figure in 2 years. Your daughter lost her mother when she was 3. They don't know how to do this. Neither do we. But we're going to figure it out because we have to. Nathan looked at this woman he'd married, this stranger with sad eyes and expensive clothes. What if we can't? Eat yours, Mohil. Then we fail, and we both lose everything. Isabella's voice was steel. But I didn't hire you to fail, Nathan. I hired you to fight. So fight. That night, Nathan lay on the couch in the master suite sitting area and stared at the ceiling while Isabella got ready for bed in the bathroom. The couch was leather, probably cost more than his truck, and felt like sleeping on a stranger's grave. Through the wall, he could hear Mia crying. Nathan stood up, started for the door. She needs time, Isabella said from the bathroom doorway, wearing silk pajamas that probably cost more than his monthly rent. She needs her father. She has her father. What she needs is space to process this. Nathan turned on her. Don't tell me how to parent my daughter. I'm not. I'm telling you that sometimes the best thing you can do is let them come to you. You don't know her. No, but I know Sophia. And I know what it's like when your whole world changes overnight. Isabella crossed her arms. Give her time. Nathan wanted to argue, wanted to go to Mia anyway, but something in Isabella's voice stopped him. Experience, maybe. Hard-won understanding. He sat back down on the couch. Isabella turned off the bathroom light, walked to the bed. For what it's worth, you're not the only one who's terrified. Nathan looked at her. No? Nathan looked at. No. She pulled back the covers. I'm betting everything on a man I don't know, hoping he doesn't break under pressure. Hoping this works. Hoping I don't lose my daughter. She paused. So if you're scared, join the club. They stared at each other across the dimly lit room. We're really doing this, Nathan said. We really are. For a whole year. 365 days. Nathan laughed, a short, bitter sound. This is insane. Completely. Isabella almost smiled. Good night, Nathan. Good night, Isabella. She turned off the light, and Nathan lay in the darkness of a stranger's house, listening to his daughter cry, and wondered what the hell he'd just done. The first week in his mansion felt like living in a photograph someone else had taken. Beautiful, cold, and utterly fake. Nathan woke up every morning on the leather couch to the sound of Isabella's alarm at 5:30. She'd shower, dress in the dark, and leave for the office before the sun came up, sometimes without saying a word. Mrs. Chen would arrive at 6 to start breakfast. By 7, Nathan would wake the girls, help them get ready for school, and drive them in his beat-up truck because Isabella's Mercedes felt like driving someone else's life. Mia barely spoke to him. She'd answer questions with single words, eat breakfast in silence, and spend every moment she could in her room with the door closed. At school drop-off, she'd get out of the truck without saying goodbye, her backpack weighing down her small shoulders like she was carrying rocks. Sophia wasn't much better. She moved through the house like a ghost, polite and distant, saying please and thank you to everyone and meaning nothing by it. On Wednesday morning, Nathan found Isabella in the kitchen at midnight, still in her work clothes, staring at her laptop like it held answers to questions she was afraid to ask. "You're up late," he said. She didn't look up. Case files. The custody hearing is in 2 weeks. Victor's lawyers just filed new evidence. What kind of evidence? The kind that says I'm never home, that Sophia is raised by staff, that I missed her last 3 parent-teacher conferences. Isabella's voice was flat, exhausted. All true, by the way. Nathan poured himself water from the refrigerator that had a screen on the door and probably cost more than a semester of college. "You're home now." "At midnight, that really helps my case." "You want to win this thing or not?" Isabella finally looked at him. "What's that supposed to mean?" "It means the girls are miserable. You're never here. I'm a stranger playing house, and Victor's lawyers are going to tear this apart if we don't actually look like a family. We've been married 6 days, Nathan, and in 8 more, we're going to court. You think a judge is going to believe we're a real family when your own daughter barely knows you're in the house?" Isabella's expression hardened. "I'm working to provide for her." "You're working to avoid her." The words hung in the air like smoke. Isabella stood up slowly, her hands flat on the granite countertop. "You don't know anything about me. I know you leave before she wakes up and come home after she's asleep. I know she had a school concert tonight and you weren't there. I know. I had a board meeting." "There's always a board meeting." Nathan set down his glass. "Look, I'm not trying to tell you how to run your company, but if you want to keep your daughter, you need to actually be her mother." Isabella's jaw tightened. "Get out." "What?" "Get out of my kitchen. This conversation is over." Nathan stared at her for a moment, then turned and walked upstairs, his footsteps too loud in the silent house. Behind him, he heard something shatter. Glass, maybe, or ceramic. He didn't look back. Chimagi. Thursday afternoon, Nathan got a call from Mia's school. She'd gotten into a fight during recess, pushed another girl off the swings, and the principal needed to see him immediately. Nathan left work early, drove to the school with grease still under his fingernails, and found Mia sitting outside the principal's office with her arms crossed and her eyes red. "What happened?" he asked quietly, sitting down beside her. "Nothing." "Mia," I said nothing. Principal Morris called them into her office, a woman in her 50s with kind eyes and a voice that had probably settled 1,000 childhood disputes. She explained that Mia had pushed another student, that the other girl had scraped her knee, that this wasn't like Mia at all. "Is everything okay at home?" Principal Morris asked, looking at Nathan with concern that felt like accusation. "We're adjusting to some changes," Nathan said carefully. "What kind of changes?" "I got married recently. We're blending families." Principal Morris nodded slowly. "That can be difficult for children. The disruption to routine, the new dynamics." She paused. "Mia, do you want to tell your dad what happened on the playground?" Mia stared at her shoes. "Emma said my new mom probably doesn't even like me because she's never at school." Nathan's chest tightened. "And what did you say?" Principal Morris asked gently. "I said she does like me, and Emma said prove it, and I couldn't, so I pushed her." Nathan reached over, put his hand on Mia's shoulder. She didn't pull away, but she didn't lean in either. "Mia, we don't push people when we're angry," Principal Morris said. "You know that." "I know." "You're going to need to apologize to Emma tomorrow." "Okay. And Mr. Hayes, I'd like to schedule a follow-up meeting next week, just to check in. Make sure Mia's adjusting well to the new family situation." Nathan nodded, feeling the weight of the lie pressing down on his lungs. In the truck on the way home, Mia finally spoke. "I hate it there." "At the house?" "Everywhere. The house, school, all of it." She looked out the window. "I want to go back to our apartment." "We can't, baby." "Why not?" "Because I sold our life for your grandfather's survival," Nathan thought. "Because I'm a coward, who took a billionaire's money instead of finding another way. Because this is our home now, he said instead. It's not home. Home is where Mom is. Nathan pulled over into a parking lot, put the truck in park, and turned to face his daughter. Mia, Mom isn't coming back. You know that. I know. And I know this change is hard. I know you miss our old life. But we're doing this for Grandpa, so he can get better. You understand that, right? Mia's eyes filled with tears. I understand you married someone you don't love for money. The words hit like a fist to the stomach. I'm not stupid, Dad. I see how you look at her, how she looks at you. You're pretending. Mia wiped her eyes angrily. You told me you loved her. You lied. Nathan wanted to deny it, wanted to keep selling the story. But looking at his 8-year-old daughter's face, seeing the betrayal there, he couldn't do it. You're right, he said quietly. I'm sorry. Mia stared at him. So you don't love her, Seth? I care about her, and I'm trying to make this work for all of us. But you don't love her. Nathan exhaled slowly. Not yet, but maybe someday I could. Love isn't always immediate, Mia. Sometimes it grows. That's a stupid thing to say. Maybe, but it's the truth. He reached over, took her hand. I know I messed up. I should have been honest with you from the beginning, but I need you to trust me. Can you do that? Mia pulled her hand away. I don't know. That night, Isabella came home at 7, early for her, and found Nathan making dinner while the girls did homework at the kitchen island. She stood in the doorway, still in her suit, looking uncertain. You cook? She asked. Someone has to. Nathan didn't look up from the stove. There's pasta if you're hungry. I usually eat at the office. I made extra anyway. Isabella set down her briefcase, walked slowly into the kitchen like she was entering foreign territory. Sophia looked up, surprised. Mom? You're home. I am. Isabella kissed the top of Sophia's head. How was school? Fine. Ochi? Just fine? We had art. I painted a tree. That sounds lovely. Can I see it? Sophia hesitated, then pulled a piece of paper from her backpack. The painting was messy, childish, beautiful. A tree with purple leaves and a sun that took up half the sky. Isabella studied it like she was examining a contract. This is really good, sweetie. It's just a tree. It's your tree. That makes it special. Isabella looked at Nathan. Do we have tape? I want to put this on the refrigerator. Nathan pointed to a drawer. Isabella found the tape, carefully hung the painting on the massive stainless steel refrigerator, and stepped back to look at it. Perfect, she said. Sophia smiled, small, uncertain, but real. They ate dinner together at the kitchen island instead of the formal dining room. Nathan served pasta with marinara sauce that came from a jar because he didn't know how to make it from scratch and didn't pretend to. Isabella asked the girls about school. Sophia talked about her volcano project. Mia said 3 words total. After dinner, Isabella helped clear the plates, awkwardly, like someone who'd forgotten how to do basic tasks. You don't have to do that, Nathan said. I know what Mrs. Chen usually does. Isabella rinsed a plate, put it in the dishwasher. But I live here too. They worked in silence for a moment. Then Isabella said quietly, I'm sorry. About last night. You were right. Nathan looked at her. About what? About me avoiding Sophia. About not being present. She set down the dish she was holding. I've spent 2 years building walls between myself and everyone else. I thought it would protect me. Protect her. But all it did was make me a stranger in my own daughter's life. You're not a stranger, says. Aren't I? Isabella's voice cracked. She painted a picture today, and I didn't even know she had art class. I don't know her teacher's name. I don't know her favorite color. I know quarterly earnings and market projections and absolutely nothing about my own child. Nathan dried his hands on a towel. Then learn. It's not that simple. It is exactly that simple. You ask questions. You listen to the answers. You show up. He paused. She had a concert last night, school choir. She sang a solo. Isabella closed her eyes. I know. I saw it on the calendar. I meant to go, but there's another one next month, regional competition. Don't miss it. I won't. I mean it, Isabella. If we're going to sell this to a judge, we have to sell it to them first. Nathan gestured toward the living room where the girls had gone to watch TV. They're not stupid. They know something's wrong. And if they know, Victor's lawyers will know. I said I won't miss it. Good. They finished the dishes in silence. When the kitchen was clean, Isabella poured herself a glass of wine and sat at the island, looking exhausted. I got a call from Principal Morris today, Nathan said. Isabella's head snapped up. Why? Mia got into a fight, pushed another kid. Is she okay? Physically? Yeah, emotionally. Nathan sat down across from her. Another student said you probably don't like her because you're never at school. Mia couldn't defend you, so she pushed the kid instead. As Isabella set down her wine glass. She defended me? In her own way. I should talk to her. You should, but not tonight. She's had a rough day. Nathan paused. Tomorrow morning, before school, take her out for breakfast, just the two of you. Let her see you're trying. What do I say to her? The truth. That you're sorry you haven't been around. That you're going to do better. That you want to get to know her. Isabella nodded slowly. Okay, I can do that. And Isabella? Yes? Mean it, because she'll know if you don't. Friday morning, Isabella took Mia to a diner near the school, a place with cracked vinyl booths and coffee that tasted like burnt rubber. Mia ordered pancakes. Isabella ordered toast she didn't eat. I'm sorry I haven't been around much, Isabella said, watching Mia drown her pancakes in syrup. Your dad told me what happened at school yesterday. Mia didn't look up. It's fine. It's not fine. You got in a fight because of me. I got in a fight because Emma's mean. Even so. Isabella folded her hands on the table. I want you to know that I do like you, Mia, very much. And I'm going to try harder to show it. You don't have to pretend. I'm not pretending. Mia looked up then, her dark eyes too knowing. You married my dad for the custody thing. I'm not dumb. Isabella's stomach dropped. What? I heard you guys talking last week. You said something about the hearing and Victor and making things look real. Mia cut another piece of pancake. It's okay. I know it's fake. Isabella felt the floor drop out from under her. Mia, I'm not going to tell anyone. I need the money for Grandpa, too. Mia's voice was matter-of-fact, adult, horrible. But you don't have to pretend you like me. I know how this works. Isabella stared at this 8-year-old child who just dismantled everything in 3 sentences. You're right, Isabella said quietly. Your father and I got married to help each other. That part is true. But Mia, I want you to understand something. Just because something starts as an arrangement doesn't mean the feelings aren't real. What feelings? I like you. Not because I'm supposed to. Not because it helps my case. Because you're brave and smart, and you love your father so much you're willing to live in a stranger's house to save your grandfather. Isabella reached across the table, touched Mia's hand. That takes courage, and I respect the hell out of it. Mia blinked. You said hell. I did. Don't tell your father. The smallest smile touched Mia's lips. Why not? Because he'll think I'm a bad influence. Are you? Isabella considered this. Probably. I work too much, I drink wine for breakfast sometimes, and I have terrible taste in men. But I'm trying to be better, and I could use your help with that. How? Teach me how to be part of your family, because I don't really know how. Isabella's voice was honest, raw. My parents died when I was young. I was raised by nannies and boarding schools. I built a company, but I don't know how to build a home. So if I mess up, and I will, tell me. Deal? Mia studied her for a long moment. Deal. They shook hands across the table like two executives signing a contract, and something small shifted between them. The custody evaluation happened on a Tuesday. A woman named Dr. Patricia Chen, no relation to Mrs. Chen, though Nathan made the joke anyway and got blank stares, arrived at the mansion at 9 a.m. with a clipboard and questions that felt like traps. She interviewed Isabella first, alone in the study, then Nathan, Then the girls together. Then all four of them as a family unit, while Dr. Chen watched like a scientist observing rats in a maze. "Tell me about a typical evening in your household," Dr. Chen said, pen poised. Nathan looked at Isabella. Isabella looked at Nathan. "Well," Isabella started, "Nathan usually picks up the girls from school. We carpool," Nathan corrected. "Isabella has Mondays and Wednesdays, I have Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we alternate Fridays." "Bamrshksas bespra," Dr. Chen wrote something down. "And dinner?" "We eat together," Isabella said, "as a family." "Every night?" Silence. "Most nights," Nathan said. "Isabella's work schedule can be unpredictable." "I'm trying to be home more," Isabella added quickly. "I've been delegating more responsibilities at the office." "Bedtime routine?" "I do stories," Nathan said. "Usually for both girls." "Both?" "Sophia asked if I'd read to her too," Nathan explained. "So now I read to both of them. Alternate nights. Sometimes they pick the same book, sometimes different ones." Dr. Chen made another note. "And how do the girls get along?" "They're sisters," Isabella said, then caught herself. "I mean, they're acting like sisters, fighting sometimes, playing together other times." "Mia took Sophia's favorite doll last week and hid it in the garage," Nathan said. "Sophia retaliated by putting Mia's homework in the recycling bin." "How did you handle that?" "We made them apologize to each other and do chores together until they worked it out," Isabella said. "Which took about 2 hours," Nathan added. "They complained the whole time, but by the end they were laughing." Dr. Chen watched them carefully. "You two seem to have a good co-parenting dynamic." "We try," Isabella said. "How did you meet?" Nathan's throat went dry. This was it, the story they'd rehearsed a dozen times. "At work," Isabella said. "I was doing facility inspections and noticed Nathan in the shop. He was explaining something about engine repair to a junior mechanic, and he was so patient, so clear. I was impressed." "I thought she was going to fire me," Nathan said. "She was taking notes and frowning. Turns out she was just concentrating. I asked him out for coffee," Isabella continued. "He said no." Dr. Chen's eyebrows raised. "No, he." "I thought it was inappropriate," Nathan said. "She was my boss. I didn't want to be the guy who dated the CEO for favors." "So what changed your mind?" Nathan looked at Isabella, and for a moment he forgot they were pretending. "She kept asking, every week for 2 months. Finally I said yes just to get her to stop. And I realized she wasn't asking because she was bored or looking for entertainment. She was asking because she was lonely, because she spent every day surrounded by people who wanted something from her, and I was the only person who'd said no." Nathan's voice was quiet. "I respected that." Isabella's eyes were bright. "He brought Mia to our 3rd date, said if we were going to be serious, I needed to know what I was signing up for. Most men would have hidden their daughter for months. Nathan put her first from day one. None of this was in the script they'd rehearsed. They were improvising now, and somehow it felt more real than any lie they'd prepared. "And the wedding?" Dr. Chen asked. "It was quite sudden." "My father was sick," Nathan said. "We didn't want to wait. Isabella helped with his medical treatment, and we decided to make it official." "So the marriage was financially motivated?" The question landed like a grenade. "The marriage was motivated by love," Isabella said firmly. "The timing was influenced by circumstances. Nathan's father needed help. I could provide it. But I didn't marry him because he needed money. I married him because I'd fallen in love with a man who puts his family first, who works harder than anyone I've ever met, and who treats my daughter like she's his own." Dr. Chen wrote for a long time, too long. Finally, she looked up. "I'd like to speak with Sophia alone now, Basong." They waited in the kitchen while Dr. Chen interviewed Sophia upstairs. Nathan paced. Isabella sat perfectly still, hands folded in her lap, every muscle tight. "We screwed up," Nathan muttered. "The financially motivated question. We should have seen that coming. We answered honestly." "Honestly? We lied through our teeth. Not about everything." Isabella looked at him. "What you said about me being lonely, about putting Mia first, that was true. I was selling a story. Were you? Nathan stopped pacing. What are you asking me? I'm asking if any of this has become real for you, because it has for me. Isabella stood up, walked to the window. I hired you to play a part, but somewhere in the last 2 weeks, you stopped playing. You actually read to Sophia at night. You helped her with her homework. You taught her how to fix her bike chain. You didn't have to do any of that. Yes, I did. That's the arrangement. The arrangement was to look like a father, not be one. Isabella turned around. There's a difference, Nathan, and you crossed the line. So what? You want me to stop caring about your kid? No, I want you to admit you do. They stared at each other across the kitchen. Fine, Nathan said. I care about Sophia. She's a good kid. Smart, funny, tougher than she looks. Happy? And me? What about you? Do you care about me? The question hung between them like a live wire. Before Nathan could answer, Dr. Chen appeared in the doorway with Sophia beside her. Thank you for your time, Dr. Chen said. I'll have my report ready for the court by Friday. After she left, the four of them stood in the foyer in silence. Did I do okay, Mom? Sophia asked quietly. Isabella pulled her daughter into a hug. You did perfect, sweetheart. I told her you read me stories now too, and that Nathan fixes things, and that Mia's teaching me how to draw weather patterns. Sophia looked up. Was that right? That was exactly right. After the girls went upstairs, Nathan and Isabella remained in the foyer. You never answered my question, Isabella said. Which one? Do you care about me? Nathan looked at her, this woman who'd bought his loyalty, who'd invaded his life, who'd somehow become more than a contract. I don't know, he said honestly. Ask me again in a few months. Why months? Because right now I can't tell the difference between what's real and what's performance, and neither can you. Isabella nodded slowly. Fair enough. Victor Laurent showed up unannounced on Thursday evening while Nathan was helping Mia with math homework. The doorbell rang. Mrs. Chen answered. Voices in the foyer, one calm, one sharp. Nathan walked out to find a man in an expensive suit standing in Isabella's entryway like he owned it. Mid-40s, silver at his temples, the kind of handsome that came from good genetics and better dental work. You must be the new husband, Victor said, looking Nathan up and down. The mechanic. And you must be the ex, Nathan replied. The asshole. Victor's smile didn't reach his eyes. Is my daughter here? She's doing homework. I'd like to see her. It's not your custody day. I don't need permission to see my own child. Isabella appeared at the top of the stairs. Actually, Victor, you do. The temporary custody order is very clear about visitation schedules. Bella? Victor's voice softened into something that might have been charm once. Come on, I just want to say hello. You want to interrogate her about the evaluation. That's not... Yes, it is. Isabella came down the stairs, positioning herself between Victor and the rest of the house. Dr. Chen's report gets filed tomorrow. You're panicking because you know it's not going to go your way. You think marrying some grease monkey is going to convince the court you're stable? Nathan stepped forward. I think you should leave. Victor laughed. Or what? You'll hit me? Please do. I'd love to add assault charges to the custody filing. Nobody's hitting anyone, Isabella said firmly. Victor, you need to go. Now. I want to see Sophia. Then wait until your scheduled visit on Saturday. Bella, don't call me that. Isabella's voice was ice. You lost the right to call me that when you emptied our joint accounts and moved to Paris with your secretary. Victor's expression darkened. I built this company with you. You married into it. There's a difference. I'm going to take Sophia. You know that, right? The court's going to see through this little charade and give me custody. We'll see. Yes, we will. Victor looked at Nathan. How much is she paying you? Whatever it is, it's not enough. Bella destroys everything she touches. Ask her first husband. Oh, wait, you can't. He killed himself. Isabella went white. Nathan moved without thinking, grabbed Victor by the collar, and shoved him against the wall. Get out, Nathan said quietly. Right now. Before I forget why hitting you is a bad idea. Victor straightened his suit, smile returning. There it is. The violence. The instability. Exactly what I needed. Nathan. Isabella's voice was shaking. Let him go. Nathan released Victor, who adjusted his tie like nothing had happened. See you in court, Bella, Victor said, and walked out. The door closed. Silence. Isabella sat down on the stairs, her face buried in her hands. Nathan stood there, adrenaline still pumping through his veins, feeling like he'd just made the biggest mistake of his life. I'm sorry, he said. I shouldn't have. He's going to use that against me, Isabella said without looking up. The custody hearing is in 6 days, and you just gave him exactly what he needed. He was threatening you, sir. He was baiting you, and you fell for it. She looked up, and there were tears in her eyes. I hired you because I thought you could keep your head under pressure. I was wrong. The words cut deep. Isabella, just go, Nathan, please. I can't. I need to be alone. Nathan climbed the stairs, past Isabella, past everything, and found Mia in her room, homework forgotten, eyes wide. I heard yelling, she said. It's okay. Everything's fine. That was Sophia's dad? Yeah, He seems mean. Yeah. Mia came over, put her small hand in his. Are we going to lose? Nathan pulled her into a hug, holding on like she was the only real thing left in this house full of lies. No, baby. We're not going to lose. But for the first time since this whole thing started, he wasn't sure he believed it. Isabella didn't come out of her room that night. Nathan stood outside her door at 11 p.m., hand raised to knock, then lowered it and went back to the couch that had become his bed. He lay awake until 3 in the morning, replaying the moment he'd grabbed Victor, seeing the satisfaction in the man's eyes, understanding too late that he'd been played like a cheap guitar. Friday morning came too fast. Nathan woke to his phone buzzing, a text from Isabella sent at 5:47 a.m. Dr. Chen's report filed with the court. My lawyer is reviewing it now. Hearing is Monday at 9 a.m. We need to prepare. No mention of last night. No acknowledgement of what had happened. Nathan found her in the kitchen at 7, already dressed for work, drinking coffee that smelled like it could strip paint. We should talk, Nathan said. No time. I have a meeting at 8. Isabella didn't look at him. My lawyer wants to see us both tomorrow, Saturday at 10. His office downtown. Isabella, don't. She set down her cup. Just don't. I spent all night going over every mistake I've made in the last month. Adding your apology to the list doesn't help. I lost my temper. I know that. But he was threatening you. He was testing you, and you failed. Isabella finally looked at him, and the exhaustion in her eyes was worse than anger. Victor doesn't make mistakes, Nathan. Every word out of his mouth is calculated. He wanted you to react, wanted to prove you're violent, unstable, exactly the wrong kind of influence around Sophia. And you gave him exactly what he wanted. So what do? We hope Dr. Chen's report is strong enough to outweigh it. We hope the judge sees through Victor's manipulation. We hope. She picked up her briefcase, and we prepare for the worst. Which is, I lose custody. Sophia goes to live with Victor in Paris, and you get your money anyway because that's the contract. Isabella's voice was hollow. Everyone loses except you. The words hit like a slap. You think I want that? I don't know what you want, Nathan. I thought I did. I thought I'd hired someone who could handle pressure, someone steady. She walked toward the door, stopped. Maybe I was wrong about you. She left before Nathan could respond. He stood in the empty kitchen, in the mansion that still didn't feel like home, and wondered if she was right. Blank. Saturday morning, Nathan and Isabella sat in the office of Marcus Reed, attorney at law, listening to him explain exactly how bad things were. Reed was 60, gray-haired, and had the weary expression of someone who'd seen too many custody battles and badly. His office smelled like old books and coffee that had been sitting too long. Dr. Chen's report is mostly positive, Reed said, flipping through pages. She notes a strong co-parenting dynamic, genuine affection between Nathan and both girls, improvement in Isabella's work-life balance. The girls appear happy, bonded. Sophia specifically mentioned feeling safer with both parents present, but Isabella asked. But she also notes the marriage was sudden, that the financial component raises questions about motivation, and that when pressed, Sophia admitted her parents' affection seems different from her friends' parents. Different how? Nathan asked. Reed read from the report. Quote, they don't kiss much. They sleep in different rooms. My friend Emma's parents hold hands all the time. Nathan and Mom mostly just talk about schedules. End quote. Isabella closed her eyes. She's 7. She notices everything. Kids usually do. Reed set down the report. Then there's the incident with Victor. He's already filed a motion citing Nathan's violent outburst as evidence of an unstable home environment. He provoked it, Nathan said. Doesn't matter, you grabbed him. He has witnesses. Mrs. Chen saw it happen. His lawyer's arguing that if you can't control your temper during a simple conversation, what happens when Sophia misbehaves, when she has a tantrum? Nathan felt his stomach turn. I would never hurt her. I believe you, but we have to convince a judge. Reed leaned back in his chair. Here's where we stand. Victor's lawyers are going to hammer 3 points. 1. The marriage is a sham designed to win custody. 2. Nathan has anger management issues. 3. Isabella is still an absentee mother who's paying someone to play house. How do we counter that? Isabella asked. We tell your story. The real one. Reed looked at Nathan. You met at work. You fell in love despite the circumstances. Yes, Isabella helped with your father's medical bills, but that's what partners do. They support each other. They're going to ask for specifics, Isabella said. Dates, timeline, details. So we give them details. Reed pulled out a notepad. When was your first date? Isabella and Nathan looked at each other. August 19th, Isabella said. Coffee at that place near the repair shop. I asked 3 times before he said yes. What did you talk about? Cars, initially, then his daughter, then my daughter, then how neither of us had any idea what we were doing. Isabella's voice softened. He made me laugh. I hadn't laughed in months. Reed wrote this down. Nathan, when did you know you wanted to marry her? Yeah. Nathan thought about the real answer. Never. This was a business arrangement. And then thought about what he needed to say to make this work. But something else came out instead. October 3rd, he said quietly. Mia had a fever. Isabella canceled a board meeting to stay home with her. Spent the whole day reading stories, making soup, checking her temperature every hour. I came home from work and found them asleep on the couch together. And I thought... He stopped. I thought this could be real. If we let it. Isabella was staring at him. Reed was writing furiously. October 3rd was a Tuesday, Isabella said. I remember. I told the board my daughter was sick. They assumed I meant Sophia. You didn't correct them, Nathan said. No, because in that moment, both girls were mine. Her eyes were bright. Both of them. Reed looked up from his notes. This is good. This is the narrative we need, not a business arrangement, a blended family that formed fast but formed real. What about the physical affection issue? Nathan asked. The hand-holding, the kissing. Sophia noticed we don't do that. Then start, Reed said simply. You have 2 days before the hearing. I need you to look like a couple who's actually in love. Practice if you have to. Isabella's jaw tightened. You want us to fake intimacy. I want you to show the intimacy that's already there. You two communicate better than most married couples I've seen. You co-parent seamlessly. You finish each other's sentences. All you're missing is the physical component. Reed stood up. Go home. Spend the weekend together. Not as business partners. As spouses. And when you walk into that courtroom Monday, I need the judge to look at you and see a real marriage. So, They drove home in silence. Isabella stared out the window. Nathan gripped the steering wheel too tight. We don't have to do this, Isabella said finally. The physical stuff. If it makes you uncomfortable, it doesn't. Nathan, I said it doesn't. He pulled into the driveway, put the truck in park. We're already lying about everything else. What's a little hand-holding? Isabella unbuckled her seatbelt but didn't get out. That story you told, about October 3rd, did that really happen? Nathan thought about lying, then thought about what Reed had said. Show the intimacy that's already there. Yeah, it happened. And you really thought about it being real? For about 5 seconds. Then I remembered why we're doing this and went back to reality. Which is? Nathan looked at her. You're paying me to play a part, and I'm playing it. That's the reality. Bum up bum. Isabella nodded slowly. Right. Of course. She got out of the truck and walked into the house without looking back. The girls were at a birthday party that afternoon, some classmate of Sophia's, supervised by parents Nathan had never met. Mrs. Chen had the day off. The house was empty. Nathan found Isabella in her study, surrounded by case files and depositions, working even though it was Saturday. We should practice, he said from the doorway. Isabella didn't look up. Practice what? What Reed said, looking like a couple. I'm busy. Isabella. I said I'm busy, Nathan. She set down her pen, finally meeting his eyes. I don't need you to hold my hand right now. I need you to let me work. Working isn't going to win this case. Neither is pretending to love you. The words landed hard. Nathan walked into the study, closed the door behind him. You want to talk about what's really bothering you? Because it's not the hand-holding. Nothing's bothering me. You've barely looked at me since Thursday night. Because every time I look at you, I see Victor's satisfied smile. I see you grabbing him. I see everything falling apart. Isabella stood up. You were supposed to be steady, reliable, the safe choice. I'm not some employee you can fire when I don't perform up to standard. Aren't you? That's exactly what this is. Nathan felt anger rising in his chest. You know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I am just the hired help. The mechanic who got lucky enough to marry up. Is that what you want to hear? Well, I want to hear that you understand what's at stake here. I understand perfectly. You're about to lose your daughter because you spent 2 years being married to your company instead of being her mother. And you think buying a husband is going to fix that, right? Well, Isabella's hand cracked across his face before he saw it coming. They stood there, breathing hard, staring at each other. I'm sorry, Isabella said, her voice shaking. I shouldn't have. Nathan caught her wrist as she lowered her hand. Do it again. What? You heard me. You're angry, so hit me again. Nathan, do it. Get it out. All the rage, all the fear, everything you've been holding in for weeks. Hit me. Isabella tried to pull away. Nathan held on. Let go, she said. Not until you stop pretending you're fine. I am fine. You're falling apart. I can see it. Everyone can see it. He pulled her closer. You're terrified you're going to lose Sophia. You're terrified this whole thing is going to blow up. You're terrified that maybe Victor's right and you are a terrible mother. So stop pretending and just be honest for once. Isabella's eyes filled with tears. I can't. Why not? Because if I start, I won't stop. Her voice broke. If I let myself feel everything I'm holding back, it will destroy me. And I can't afford to be destroyed. Not now. Not when Sophia needs me. Nathan let go of her wrist, but he didn't step back. You don't have to hold it together alone. Yes, I do. That's what I've always done. Not anymore. That's what this whole thing is supposed to be, remember? A partnership. A fake partnership. Is it? Nathan asked quietly. Because it stopped feeling fake to me about 2 weeks ago. Isabella stared at him. What are you saying? I'm saying maybe Reed is right. Maybe the intimacy is already there. We just haven't been paying attention. Nathan, he kissed her. It wasn't planned, wasn't calculated. Nathan just leaned forward and pressed his lips against hers, and for a moment, Isabella froze. Then she kissed him back. It was clumsy, uncertain, nothing like the movies. Their noses bumped. Isabella's hands didn't seem to know where to go. Nathan's heart was hammering so hard he thought it might break his ribs, but it was real. When they pulled apart, Isabella's cheeks were flushed. That was terrible? I was going to say unexpected. Want to try again? This time Isabella kissed him first, and this time it was better, slower, softer, like they were learning a language neither of them spoke. When they broke apart again, Nathan rested his forehead against hers. Still feel fake? I don't know what it feels like. Isabella admitted, but it doesn't feel like business. Good enough for me. They stood there for a moment, neither moving, neither quite ready to let go. Then Isabella's phone rang. She pulled away, checked the screen. It's Reed. Answer it. Isabella put the call on speaker. Marcus? We have a problem, Reed said without preamble. Victor's filed an emergency motion. He's claiming Nathan has a history of violence and is demanding immediate supervised visitation only until the custody hearing. Based on what evidence? Isabella asked. He found an old police report. Nathan got into a bar fight 6 years ago. Charges were dropped, but it's on record. Nathan's stomach dropped. That was right after my wife died. Some drunk asshole made a comment about her. I lost it for about 30 seconds. Doesn't matter. It's evidence of a pattern. Reed's voice was grim. The judge is reviewing the motion now. If he grants it, you'll only see Sophia at supervised visits until Monday's hearing. Can they do that? Isabella asked. Emergency motions are designed for immediate threats to child safety. Victor's arguing Nathan poses that threat. Papers rustled on Reed's end. I'm fighting it, but I need to be honest with you. This doesn't look good. Isabella sat down heavily. What do we do? Keep your heads down, don't give them any more ammunition, and pray the judge sees this for what it is. A desperate play by a desperate man. After Reed hung up, Nathan and Isabella sat in silence. 6 years ago, Isabella said finally, your wife had just died. Yeah. What happened? Really? Nathan leaned against the desk. I was at a bar, trying to drink enough to forget. This guy started talking about how single moms were all sluts looking for child support. Started listing all the ways women trap men with kids. He closed his eyes. My wife died in a car accident 3 months earlier. Drunk driver. And all I could think about was Mia, who was 2 years old and kept asking where mommy was. So I punched him. Did you hurt him? Broke his nose. Bartender called the cops. Guy didn't press charges when he sobered up and realized why I'd hit him. Nathan opened his eyes. I'm not violent, Isabella. I've never hit anyone before or since. But Victor's going to make it look like I'm one bad day away from snapping. I know you're not violent. Do you? Because Thursday night you defended me. That's different. Isabella stood up, walked to the window. My first husband killed himself. Did you know that? Nathan went still. Victor mentioned something. His name was Andrew. We married young, too young. I was 22, he was 25. He was brilliant, charming, ambitious. Everything I thought I wanted. Her voice was flat, reciting facts. Turns out he was also bipolar and refused treatment. The mood swings got worse. The spending, the paranoia. I tried to help, but he wouldn't let me. One day I came home and found him in the garage. Carbon monoxide poisoning. Jesus, Isabella. Victor knows this. He knows exactly what buttons to push, what wounds to reopen. That's what he does. He finds your weak spots and exploits them. She turned around. So when he mentioned Andrew, he wasn't being cruel. He was being strategic, making me remember, making me doubt myself. You couldn't have saved him. Couldn't I? I was so focused on building the company, on proving I could run my grandfather's empire. I didn't see how bad things were getting until it was too late. Isabella's eyes were wet. Victor's right about one thing. I destroy everything I touch. Andrew, my marriage to Victor, Sophia's childhood. Now this, whatever this is with you. Nathan crossed the room, took her hands. You're not destroying anything. Look around, Nathan. We're 2 weeks away from losing everything because I thought I could buy my way out of my failures. We haven't lost yet. But we will. Victor always wins. He's patient, methodical. He'll wait until the perfect moment, and then he'll strike. And we won't see it coming. Then we don't wait for him to strike. We strike first. Isabella looked at him. What are you talking about? Nathan pulled out his phone, opened the recording app. Thursday night, when Victor showed up. Did you notice what he said about emptying your joint accounts? He was just being cruel. No, he was admitting to financial fraud. You said the divorce settlement specified he got 30% of liquid assets. If he emptied the accounts before the settlement, he violated the agreement. The statute of limitations. Doesn't matter. It shows a pattern. He's willing to lie, to cheat, to manipulate the system. Nathan was thinking fast now, the same way he thought through engine problems. We don't fight him on the violence angle. That's what he expects. We fight him on character. Show the judge who he really is. How? Sophia. She's old enough to testify. If she tells the judge about Victor's manipulation, about the pressure he puts on her. I won't put my daughter on the stand. Isabella. No. Her voice was steel. Sophia has been through enough. I won't make her choose between her parents in open court. I won't traumatize her to win a case. Then what's your plan? I don't have one. Isabella pulled away from him. I'm just trying to survive until Monday and hope Reed works miracles. That's not a plan. That's surrendered. Then maybe I'm surrendering. She walked to the door. I'm tired, Nathan. I'm tired of fighting, tired of pretending, tired of dragging everyone I care about into my mess. Everyone you care about? Nathan repeated. Does that include me? Isabella stopped, her hand on the doorknob. She didn't turn around. I don't know anymore. She left him standing in the study, surrounded by case files and depositions and the wreckage of their conversation. 5. The girls came home at 5, full of birthday cake and stories about a magician who'd made a rabbit disappear. They were laughing together, Sophia explaining the trick while Mia insisted magic was real. Nathan made dinner, spaghetti again, because it was the only thing he knew how to make that both girls would eat, and listened to them talk about their day like nothing was wrong. Isabella joined them at the table, quiet but present. Mom, can Nathan teach me how to fix my bike? Sophia asked. The chain keeps falling off. Isabella glanced at Nathan. If he has time. I have time, Nathan, Nathan said. Can I help? Mia asked. Sure, baby. They ate dinner together like a normal family. The girls cleared their plates without being asked. Nathan did dishes while Isabella made school lunches for Monday. After the girls went upstairs to watch a movie, Nathan found Isabella in the kitchen, staring at tomorrow's schedule on the refrigerator. We should talk about the hearing, he said. Not tonight. Isabella, please, Nathan, just not tonight. She turned around, and the exhaustion in her face was devastating. Can we have one night where we're not preparing for battle? One night where we just exist? Nathan wanted to argue, wanted to plan, strategize, prepare. Instead, he nodded. Okay, okay. They went upstairs together. In the master suite, Isabella got ready for bed, while Nathan pulled out the couch cushions. Nathan? Isabella's voice came from the bedroom. Yeah? Isabella's. Would you... She paused. Would you sleep in the bed tonight? We don't have to. I just don't want to be alone. Nathan stood in the doorway. You sure? No, but I'm asking anyway, Dee. He climbed into the bed, this massive, expensive thing that felt like sleeping on a cloud, and stayed on his side. Isabella stayed on hers. They lay in the darkness, two people who'd accidentally become real in the middle of their lie. Nathan? Yeah. That kiss earlier, did you mean it? Nathan thought about the truth, about what he'd promised himself he'd never do, catch feelings for someone who was paying him. Yeah, he said quietly. I meant it. What? Silence. Then Isabella's hand found his in the darkness. Okay, she whispered. Me too. They fell asleep holding hands, and for the first time since this whole mess started, Nathan felt something like peace. Sunday morning, Nathan woke up to find Isabella's head on his shoulder, her breath warm against his neck. He stayed perfectly still, afraid to wake her, afraid to break whatever fragile thing had formed between them overnight. His phone buzzed on the nightstand. Text from Reed. Judge denied Victor's emergency motion. Regular custody hearing proceeds as scheduled tomorrow. Be at courthouse by 8:30 a.m. Dress professionally. And for the love of everything, look like you actually like each other. Nathan felt relief wash through him. He squeezed Isabella's hand gently, and she stirred. Morning, she mumbled. Judge denied Victor's motion. Isabella sat up, suddenly awake. He did? Reed just texted, hearing's still on for tomorrow. Isabella grabbed her phone, read the message herself. Then she laughed. A real, genuine laugh that Nathan had never heard before. "We're still in this," she said. "We're still in this, Mom." She turned to him, and there was something different in her eyes, something that looked like hope. "Thank you," she said quietly, "for not giving up on me." "I'm not giving up on us." The word hung between them. Us. Isabella leaned forward and kissed him, soft, quick, but real. "Let's go tell the girls," she said. They went downstairs together, hands linked, and found Mia and Sophia making pancakes with Mrs. Chen, who'd come in early. "Dad!" Mia ran over. "Mrs. Chen is teaching us how to flip them without breaking them." "I see that." "Can we have pancakes for breakfast every Sunday?" Sophia asked Isabella. "Like a tradition?" Isabella looked at Nathan. He nodded. "Every Sunday," Isabella promised. They ate breakfast together. The four of them crowded around the kitchen island instead of the formal dining room. The girls got syrup everywhere. Mrs. Chen pretended not to notice, and for one moment it felt exactly like what they'd been pretending to be all along. A family. That afternoon, Nathan taught both girls how to fix Sophia's bike chain in the driveway. He showed them how to use the chain tool, how to thread it back through the derailleur, how to check the tension. "Why does it keep falling off?" Sophia asked. "Because something's loose, but once we tighten it up, it'll hold." Nathan looked at both girls. "Kind of like people. Sometimes we get loose, disconnected. But if you put in the work, you can make it strong again." "Are you talking about the bike or about you and Mom?" Mia asked. Nathan met his daughter's two knowing eyes. "Both, maybe." "I like it when you're home," Sophia said quietly. "It's less lonely." Isabella appeared in the driveway, watching them. Nathan wondered how long she'd been standing there. "Girls, go wash up for dinner," she said. After they left, Isabella walked over to where Nathan was putting away tools. "Tomorrow's going to be hard," she said. "I know. Victor's going to throw everything at us. The fake marriage, your temper, my failures as a mother. I know. And we might still lose. Why? We might." Nathan stood up, faced her. "But we're going to fight anyway." "What?" Isabella nodded. "Together?" "Together." She kissed him then, right there in the driveway where anyone could see, and Nathan kissed her back like it was the most natural thing in the world. Because maybe, somewhere in the middle of all the lies and contracts and desperation, it had become exactly that. Natural, real, theirs. Monday morning arrived like a freight train Nathan couldn't stop. He woke at 5 a.m., Isabella already gone from the bed, the sound of the shower running behind the bathroom door. Nathan lay there staring at the ceiling, his stomach twisted into knots, thinking about every possible way this could go wrong. The bathroom door opened. Isabella emerged in a towel, her hair wet, her face pale. "I can't breathe," she said. Nathan sat up. "What?" "Shh. I can't breathe. Every time I think about walking into that courtroom, my chest gets tight and She pressed a hand against her sternum. "I can't lose her, Nathan. I can't." He got out of bed, crossed to her. "Look at me." Isabella's eyes were wild with panic. "Breathe with me," Nathan said. "In through your nose. Hold it. Out through your mouth." "I can't." "Yes, you can. In." He demonstrated. Isabella tried to follow, her breath hitching. Hold and out. They stood there in the dim light of early morning, breathing together, until Isabella's panic receded enough for her to stand without shaking. "What if it's not enough?" she whispered. "What if we did everything right and it's still not enough?" "Then we appeal. We keep fighting. We don't stop until Sophia's safe." "You say that like you're planning to stay." Nathan realized what he'd said. "We. Not you. We. One problem at a time," he said quietly. Isabella nodded, but something shifted in her expression. Hope, maybe, or fear. Nathan couldn't tell which. By 7 a.m., they were both dressed. Isabella in a navy suit that probably cost more than Nathan's truck. Nathan in the same funeral suit he'd worn to their wedding. They looked like they belonged in different tax brackets, different worlds. "You should wear this," Isabella said, holding out a tie. Expensive silk, subtle pattern. "I have a tie." "That tie is from Target. This one is Hermes." When Nathan hesitated, she added, Victor's lawyers are going to judge every detail. Let's not give them ammunition. Nathan took the tie. Let Isabella knot it for him. Her fingers worked efficiently, muscle memory from a previous life when she'd done this for someone else. There, she said, stepping back. You look like you belong with me. I'm still a mechanic in a borrowed tie. You're my husband. Act like it, says. The word hit different this morning. Husband. Not fake husband. Not contract husband. Just husband. Downstairs, Mrs. Chen was making breakfast. Neither of them would eat. The girls sat at the table in their pajamas, Sophia quiet, Mia watching her father with worried eyes. Are you going to work? Sophia asked Isabella. Something like that, sweetheart. Is Nathan going too? Yes. When will you be back? Isabella crouched down beside Sophia's chair. This afternoon, Mrs. Chen is going to take you girls to school and pick you up. And tonight we'll have dinner together, all of us. Promise? Isabella's voice caught. I promise. Nathan kissed Mia's forehead. Be good for Mrs. Chen. Dad? Mia grabbed his hand. You're going to win, right? Whatever this is? And Nathan wanted to promise, wanted to give his daughter the certainty she needed, but he'd already lied to her enough. I'm going to try my hardest, he said instead. In the truck on the way to the courthouse, Isabella kept checking her phone. Reed had sent 3 messages, all variations of the same thing. Stick to the story, stay calm, don't let Victor get under your skin. What if they ask about the contract? Isabella said suddenly. What contract? The one we signed, the marriage agreement. What if Victor's lawyers somehow found it? They didn't. Reed said it's attorney-client privilege, completely sealed. But what if... Isabella. Nathan reached over, took her hand. We prepared for this. We know the story. We stick to it. The story is a lie. The story is that we fell in love despite circumstances. That's not entirely a lie anymore. Isabella looked at him. Isn't it? Nathan didn't answer. He didn't know how to. The courthouse was a gray building downtown that looked like it had witnessed 1,000 broken families and cared about none of them. Nathan parked in the garage, and they walked to the entrance together, their hands linked in a grip that was probably too tight to look natural. Reed met them in the lobby, gray suit, leather briefcase, expression carved from granite. Ready? He asked. No, Isabella said. Good. Honest. Reed led them to the elevators. Judge Catherine Morrison, 20 years on the bench, no nonsense, hates games. She's seen every custody trick in the book, so don't try to be clever. Just be honest. About what? Nathan asked. About why you're together. About what your family looks like. About the fact that it's messy and imperfect and real. Reed pressed the button for the 4th floor. Victor's strategy is going to be painting you as frauds. Our strategy is proving you're not. The elevator doors opened onto a hallway lined with courtrooms. Victor was already there, standing with 2 lawyers in expensive suits. He looked polished, confident, like a man who knew he'd already won. When he saw Nathan and Isabella, he smiled. Bella, he said, you look stressed. Rough morning? Isabella's hand tightened on Nathan's. Victor. And the mechanic, still playing husband? Victor's eyes traveled to their linked hands. How much is she paying you for that, by the way? The hand-holding? Is that extra? Nathan started to move forward. Isabella's grip became iron. Don't, she said quietly. That's what he wants. Victor laughed. See? She has to hold you back. Tell me again how stable this marriage is. One of Victor's lawyers, a woman in her 40s with shark eyes, stepped forward. Mr. Laurent, we should prepare. Victor nodded, still smiling. See you in there, Bella. Try not to cry when you lose. It's embarrassing. He walked away, his lawyers flanking him like bodyguards. Nathan felt rage burning in his chest. I want to hit him. Join the club, Reed said dryly. But you won't, because that's exactly the narrative he's selling. Come on. The courtroom was smaller than Nathan expected. Wood paneling, fluorescent lights, an American flag in the corner that had seen better days. Judge Morrison sat behind the bench, a black woman in her late 50s with steel gray hair and eyes that missed nothing. All rise, the bailiff said. They stood, sat. Reed opened his briefcase. In the matter of Laurent versus Laurent, Judge Morrison said, reading from a file. Custody modification petition filed by Victor Laurent seeking full custody of minor child Sophia Laurent, currently age 7. Miss Laurent, you're opposing this petition? Isabella stood. Yes, Your Honor. And Mr. Hayes, you're party to this proceeding as Ms. Laurent's current spouse? Nathan stood. Yes, Your Honor. Judge Morrison looked at them over her reading glasses. This is not a trial. This is a custody evaluation hearing. I'll hear testimony from both parties, review submitted evidence, and make a determination based on the best interests of the child. Understood? Yes, Your Honor, they said in unison. Mr. Laurent, your petition claims Ms. Laurent is an unfit mother due to excessive work hours, unstable home environment, and a fraudulent marriage designed to influence this proceeding. Is that correct? Victor stood, and his voice was smooth as glass. Yes, Your Honor. I'm not here to attack my ex-wife's character. I'm here because I'm concerned for my daughter's well-being. Isabella works 80-hour weeks. Sophia is raised primarily by staff, and this sudden marriage to a man she barely knows raises serious questions about her judgment. Ms. Laurent, your response? Isabella stood, and Nathan could see her hands shaking. Your Honor, I acknowledge I've made mistakes. I have worked too much. I have let my career take precedence over my daughter. But I'm actively correcting that. I've reduced my hours, I'm attending school events, and I've married a man who brings stability and love to our home. A man you married 6 weeks ago. Yes, Your Honor. That's quite fast. When you know, Isabella said, and her voice only wavered slightly. Judge Morrison made her note. We'll hear testimony. Mr. Laurent, call your first witness. Victor's lawyer stood. We call Dr. Patricia Chen to the stand. Dr. Chen entered. Same clipboard, same professional detachment. She was sworn in, sat down, and answered questions about her evaluation with clinical precision. Dr. Chen, in your professional opinion, is the marriage between Mrs. Laurent and Mr. Hayes genuine? Victor's lawyer asked. That's outside the scope of my evaluation. But you noted in your report that the children observed certain behaviors inconsistent with a typical married couple. Can you elaborate? Dr. Chen consulted her notes. Sophia Laurent mentioned that her mother and stepfather display less physical affection than she observes in her peers' parents. They maintain separate sleeping arrangements. The marriage occurred very quickly, which can sometimes indicate situational motivation rather than emotional connection. Situational motivation meaning the marriage may have been entered into to improve Miss Laurent's custody position rather than out of genuine romantic attachment. Nathan felt the words land like punches. However, Dr. Chen continued, I also observed genuine care between Mr. Hayes and both children. He's attentive, patient, and clearly invested in their well-being. The family dynamic, while unconventional, appears functional. But not genuine? I didn't say that. I said unconventional. Victor's lawyer pressed harder. Dr. Chen, in your 20 years of conducting custody evaluations, how many marriages have you seen that began 6 weeks before a custody hearing? Objection, Reed said. Relevance. Sustained, Judge Morrison said. Move on, counselor. Dr. Chen, you also noted in your report an incident of violence. Can you describe what you witnessed? Boss. On Thursday, October 10th, I observed Mr. Hayes physically grab Mr. Laurent in the entry hall of Ms. Laurent's residence. Mr. Hayes appeared angry and aggressive. Did Mr. Laurent provoke this? He made verbal comments that seemed to upset Mr. Hayes, but physical violence is never an appropriate response. Nathan wanted to defend himself, wanted to explain, but Reed had been clear. Don't speak unless spoken to. Victor's lawyer finished, and Reed stood for cross-examination. Dr. Chen, you stated the family dynamic appears functional. Can you define that? The children are well cared for. They're attending school regularly, showing no signs of abuse or neglect. Both appear bonded to both parental figures. Both parental figures, including Mr. Hayes? Yes, Sophia in particular has responded positively to his presence. And the incident of violence you described. Did Mr. Laurent say anything that might explain Mr. Hayes' reaction? Dr. Chen hesitated. Mr. Laurent made comments about Miss Laurent's first husband's suicide. The remarks were inflammatory. Inflammatory enough that a reasonable person might have an emotional response? Objection, Victor's lawyer said. Calls for speculation. Overruled, Judge Morrison said. Answer the question, Dr. Chen? Yes. The comments were cruel and clearly intended to cause emotional distress. Reed nodded. No further questions. The morning continued. Victor's lawyers called references, former nannies, business associates, people who testified that Isabella was never home, always working, barely knew her daughter's schedule. Each testimony felt like another nail in a coffin Nathan couldn't see but could definitely feel closing around them. Then Victor took the stand. He was good. Nathan had to give him that. Victor spoke about loving Sophia, about wanting stability for her, about his concerns that Isabella's new marriage was a desperate attempt to appear stable rather than actually being stable. I don't doubt Isabella loves Sophia, Victor said, his voice perfectly calibrated for sympathy. But love isn't enough. Children need consistency. They need parents who are present, and they need to feel safe. Do you believe Sophia feels safe with Miss Laurent and Mr. Hayes? His lawyer asked. I believe Sophia is confused. She's been introduced to a new father figure who has anger management issues. She's living in a home where the adults are pretending to be something they're not. And that's not safety. That's instability dressed up as family. Reed's cross-examination was brutal. Mr. Laurent, you mentioned stability. How many countries have you lived in over the past 2 years? 3. My work requires travel. And you're asking for full custody while living in Paris? I can work remotely. Can you? Your employment contract requires on-site presence at least 60% of the year. We have documentation. Reed slid a folder across to the judge. You're asking this court to remove Sophia from her school, her friends, her home, and move her to a foreign country where you'll be traveling for business more than half the time. Explain to me how that provides the stability you're so concerned about. Victor's composure slipped. I'll make arrangements. You'll hire nannies, the very thing you're criticizing Ms. Laurent for. That's different. How? Because I won't be lying about being married to provide false stability. Reed smiled. No further questions. Judge Morrison called a recess for lunch. Nathan and Isabella sat in a conference room down the hall, neither eating the sandwiches Reed had ordered. How bad is it? Isabella asked. Reed was honest. Not great. Victor's painting a compelling picture, but we haven't presented our case yet. When? This afternoon. I'm calling you first, then Nathan. Reed looked at them both. This is where it matters. The judge needs to believe you. Not the contract version of you. The real version. Can you do that? Nathan looked at Isabella. She looked back. Yeah, Nathan said. We can do that. At 2 p.m., Isabella took the stand. Reed walked her through the timeline. Meeting Nathan, falling in love, deciding to marry. Isabella answered each question carefully, her voice steady. Then Victor's lawyer stood for cross-examination, and Nathan watched the predator smell blood. Ms. Laurent, when exactly did you first speak to Mr. Hayes? August 15th, during a facility inspection. And when did you have him investigated? Isabella's face went pale. Excuse me? You had Mr. Hayes investigated before you married him, correct? Background check, financial records, employment history? Reed stood. Objection. Relevance. Your Honor, this goes to the petitioner's claim that the marriage is fraudulent. I'll allow it, Judge Morrison said. Answer the question, Ms. Laurent. Isabella's voice was barely audible. Yes, I had him investigated. When? August 10th. The courtroom went silent. August 10th, Victor's lawyer repeated. 5 days before you supposedly first spoke to him at a facility inspection? Yes. So you didn't meet him during an inspection. You researched him, selected him, and then approached him with a proposal. Isn't that correct? Isabella closed her eyes. Yes. What kind of proposal? Reed was standing. Objection, Your Honor. This is overruled. Answer the question, Ms. Laurent. Nathan felt the floor drop out from under him. This was it. The moment everything fell apart. Isabella opened her eyes and looked directly at the judge. I proposed a business arrangement. I needed a husband to improve my custody case. Mr. Hayes needed money for his father's medical treatment. I offered to pay him. The courtroom erupted. Judge Morrison banged her gavel. Order. Everyone sit down. She looked at Isabella. You're admitting this marriage is fraudulent? No, Your Honor. Isabella's voice was stronger now. I'm admitting it started as a business arrangement, but that's not what it became. Explain. I hired Nathan Hayes because I was desperate. I was about to lose my daughter to a man who manipulates people for sport. I thought I could buy a solution. Pay someone to play husband, win custody, go back to my life. Isabella's hands were shaking. But that's not what happened. Nathan came into my home and he actually cared. He read to my daughter. He fixed her bike. He called me out when I was being a terrible mother. He showed up in ways I never expected and didn't pay for. Ms. Laurent, I fell in love with him, Your Honor. Not because I wanted to. Not because it was convenient. But because he's the first person in my adult life who's treated me like a human being instead of a bank account. Isabella was crying now. So yes, this started as fraud. But what we have now is real. And if you take my daughter away because I made a desperate choice to save her, then I'll have lost everything that matters. Well, Judge Morrison was writing. Victor was smiling. Reed looked like he wanted to die. Miss Laurent, step down, the judge said. Nathan was called next. He walked to the stand on legs that barely held him, was sworn in, and sat down. Reed asked basic questions. Nathan answered mechanically, his mind still reeling from Isabella's confession. Then Victor's lawyer stood up. Mr. Hayes, you were paid to marry Miss Laurent, correct? Yes. How much? Nathan looked at Isabella. She nodded. $300,000 for my father's treatment, $200,000 cash. $500,000 to play husband for a year? That was the arrangement. And you accepted? My father was dying. I would have done anything to save him. Including lying under oath about loving a woman you barely know? Nathan felt anger rising. I know her better than you think. What? Bolt. Do you? You've lived together for 6 weeks. That's 42 days. Most people date longer than that before getting engaged. Most people aren't fighting to keep their daughters. Is that what you're doing? Fighting for Sophia? Or fighting for the paycheck? Nathan leaned forwards. You want to know what I'm fighting for? I'm fighting for a little girl who spent 2 years being used as a weapon in her parents' war. I'm fighting for a woman who works herself to death because she's terrified of being the failure everyone tells her she is. I'm fighting for my own daughter who finally has a sister in a home that doesn't feel like we're one bad month away from eviction. That's very touching, but the question remains, are you in love with Ms. Laurent? Nathan looked at Isabella, sitting at the defense table. Her face streaked with tears, her hands clasped so tight her knuckles were white. Yeah, he said quietly. I am. When did that happen? When did the business arrangement become love? I don't know exactly. Somewhere between the first dinner where everyone was miserable and the morning I woke up and realized I couldn't imagine leaving. Somewhere between her staying home when my daughter was sick and me reading bedtime stories to hers. Love doesn't happen on a schedule. You are convenient that you discovered this love right before a custody hearing. Convenient? Nathan's voice rose. You think any of this is convenient? I'm a mechanic married to a billionaire. I sleep on a couch in a mansion because we're still figuring out how to be us. My daughter knows I lied to her and might never trust me again. Isabella is about to lose custody because I grabbed you when you insulted her dead husband. There's nothing convenient about any of this. Judge Morrison held up a hand. Mr. Hayes, control your temper. Nathan took a breath. Sorry, Your Honor. Victor's lawyer smiled. Speaking of temper, you have a history of violence, don't you? One bar fight 6 years ago, charges dropped because the victim felt sorry for you. But the violence still happened. You punched a man hard enough to break his nose. He was talking about my dead wife. And when Mr. Laurent mentioned your wife, you grabbed him. See a pattern? Nathan's jaw clenched. Yeah, I see a pattern of me defending the people I love from men who use words like weapons. So violence is acceptable when you're emotional? No, violence is never acceptable. But I'm human. I make mistakes, and I'm trying to be better. For the paycheck? For my family. The lawyer paused. Your family? You mean the family you bought into? I mean the family I earned. Nathan looked at the judge. Your Honor, I know how this looks. I know it started wrong. But what Isabella and I have built, the four of us, that's real. Sophia calls me when she has nightmares. Mia asks Isabella for advice about school. We eat breakfast together every Sunday. We fight about whose turn it is to do dishes. We're messy and imperfect, and we started as a lie. But we became the truth. Judge Morrison studied him for a long moment. Step down, Mr. Hayes. Reed called one more witness, Nathan's father, Richard Hayes. The old man walked in looking thinner than Nathan remembered, his skin gray, but alive. Alive because of Isabella's money. Richard was sworn in, and Reed asked him about Nathan's character. My son is the best man I know, Richard said simply. He raised his daughter alone after losing his wife, worked 3 jobs to keep a roof over their heads, never complained, never gave up. And when I got sick, he did the same thing for me. You're aware of the arrangement between Nathan and Miss Laurent? I am. Nathan told me everything. And what do you think about it? Richard looked at Isabella. I think she gave my son a chance to save me, and he gave her a chance to save her daughter. I think they both got more than they bargained for. How so? Because they fell in love. Anyone with eyes can see it. Richard smiled. My son looks at her the way he looked at his first wife, like she's the only person in the room, and she looks at him like he hung the moon. That's not something you can fake. Victor's lawyer cross-examined, tried to poke holes in Richard's testimony, but the old man was unshakable. When it was over, Judge Morrison looked at both parties. I'm taking this under advisement. I'll issue a ruling within 7 days. Court is adjourned. The gavel came down. It was over. Nathan and Isabella walked out of the courthouse into afternoon sunlight that felt wrong, too bright, too normal. Did we just lose? Isabella asked. Reed shook his head. I don't know. Morrison's impossible to read. But your confession, Isabella, what were you thinking? I was thinking I'm tired of lying. Isabella leaned against the building. I couldn't keep pretending it was all perfect when it started as fraud. The judge deserved the truth. The truth might cost you custody. I know. Nathan took her hand. What happens now? Now we wait, Reed said. 7 days. Try to live your lives, and hope Morrison sees what I see. Which is? Isabella asked. Reed looked at them both. Their linked hands, their exhausted faces, the way they stood together like neither could stand alone. A real family, he said simply. However it started. They picked up the girls from school together that afternoon, and Sophia knew immediately that something was wrong. Did you lose? She asked from the back seat, her voice small. Isabella turned around. We don't know yet, sweetheart. The judge needs time to decide. How much time? A week. Sophia was quiet for a moment. Then, if we lose, do I have to go live with Dad? Nathan watched Isabella's face in the rearview mirror, watched her try to hold herself together for her daughter. Let's not worry about that yet, Isabella said. Let's just go home. Home. The word still felt strange in Nathan's mouth, but less strange than it had 6 weeks ago. That night, they kept their promise. Dinner together at the kitchen table, chicken that Mrs. Chen had left warming in the oven, vegetables the girls picked at, bread nobody ate. They went through the motions of being a family while the sword hung over their heads. After dinner, Mia cornered Nathan in the hallway while Isabella was helping Sophia with homework. You told the truth today, didn't you, Mia asked. In court. Nathan crouched down to her level. How did you know? Mrs. Chen was listening to the radio. They talked about it on the news, about Isabella's fake marriage. Mia's eyes were accusing. You lied to me for weeks. I know, baby. I'm so sorry. Are you really in love with her, or were you lying about that too? Nathan took his daughter's hands. I didn't lie about that. I do love her. But you didn't when you married her. No, I didn't. Mia pulled her hands away. I don't know if I can trust you anymore. The words cut deeper than anything Victor's lawyers had thrown at him. Mia, I need to think, she said, and walked upstairs to her room, closing the door quietly behind her. Nathan stood in the hallway, feeling like he'd failed at the only job that truly mattered. Isabella found him there 20 minutes later, still standing in the same spot. She'll forgive you, Isabella said quietly. Will she? I taught her to be honest her whole life, then lied to her face for 6 weeks. You were trying to save your father. That doesn't make it right. Nathan turned to face her. We've heard everyone around us trying to fix our own problems. I know. They stood there in the hallway, two people who'd accidentally fallen in love while pretending to be in love. And the irony wasn't lost on either of them. What happens if we lose? Nathan asked. You get your money. That was the contract. I don't want the money. Isabella looked at him. Nathan, I mean it. If we lose, I don't want a penny. It feels like blood money now. Your father needs that treatment. My father's already getting it, and he'd rather die than watch me profit off your daughter being taken away. Nathan moved closer to her. If we lose together. That's what partners do. Isabella's eyes filled with tears. We might not be partners after this. The contract expires in 10 months. If I don't have Sophia, there's no reason for you to stay. Isn't there? Is there? Nathan wanted to say yes. Wanted to promise forever. But standing in this hallway, in this mansion that still didn't quite feel like his, with his daughter barely speaking to him and a court decision hanging over their heads, forever felt like a luxury they hadn't earned. Ask me in 10 months, he said quietly. Isabella nodded, wiped her eyes. Okay. The next 7 days were the longest of Nathan's life. He went to work at the repair shop, fixed engines, came home covered in grease. Isabella went to the office but came home earlier now, usually by 6. They ate dinner together, helped with homework, read bedtime stories, pretended everything was fine while waiting for the call that would either save them or destroy them. Mia still wasn't talking to him, not beyond basic necessities. She'd answer questions with one word, eat meals in silence, and disappear to her room whenever possible. It was like living with a ghost of his daughter. On Wednesday night, Nathan knocked on her door. Go away, she said. Mia, we need to talk. I don't want to talk. Nathan opened the door anyway. Mia was lying on her bed, staring at the ceiling. I know you're angry, Nathan said, sitting on the edge of the bed. You have every right to be. I don't care. Yes, you do. You're my daughter. You care about everything. Mia sat up, and her eyes were blazing. You made me move here. You made me change schools, leave my friends, live in this huge house that doesn't feel like home. You said it was because you loved Isabella, but you didn't. You just wanted money. That's not And the worst part is I believed you. I actually started liking it here. I started liking Sophia and Isabella and the pancakes and the stupid bike lessons. I thought maybe we could be a real family. Her voice broke. But it was all fake. Nathan felt his own eyes burning. It's not fake now. How am I supposed to know that? How am I supposed to trust anything you say? What? You can't. Not yet. Nathan reached for her hand. She didn't pull away. But I'm going to prove it to you, every single day. I'm going to show you that what we have now is real, even if it started as a lie. What if the judge takes Sophia away? Then we'll still be a family. You, me, Isabella. We'll figure it out. Will we stay here? Nathan hesitated. I don't know, baby. That's up to Isabella. Mia looked at him, her dark eyes so much like her mother's. Do you really love her? Yes. How do you know? Because I think about her first thing in the morning. Because I want to tell her about my day. Because when she's sad, I feel it in my chest like it's my own sadness. Nathan smiled slightly. Because she drives me crazy, and I still want to be around her. That sounds stupid. Love usually is. Mia was quiet for a moment. Then, if we stay here, can I paint my room? Nathan pulled her into a hug. You can paint it any color you want. On Thursday, Nathan's father was released from the hospital. The cancer was in remission, not gone, but controlled. Dr. Patel called it a miracle. Nathan called it Isabella's money-buying time they wouldn't have had otherwise. They brought Richard back to the mansion, set him up in a guest room on the first floor. The old man looked around at the marble and the art and the space and laughed. "Never thought I'd end up in a place like this," he said. "Makes two of us," Nathan replied. Richard grabbed his son's hand. "You did good, kid. Real good." "We don't know that yet. The judge hasn't ruled." "I'm not talking about the judge. I'm talking about your family." Richard looked toward the kitchen where Isabella was making tea with both girls. "That's real. Anyone can see it. It started as a lie. Everything does. You think your mother and I fell in love at first sight? Hell no. She thought I was an arrogant jackass. I thought she was uptight. But we kept showing up, kept trying, kept choosing each other every single day until the lie became the truth." Richard squeezed Nathan's hand. "That's what love is, son. Not some lightning bolt from the sky. It's showing up when it's hard. It's staying when you could leave. It's choosing someone over and over until you can't imagine choosing anyone else." Bulky. Friday came. Still no call from Reed. Saturday. Nothing. Sunday morning, they made pancakes together, all four of them plus Richard, who supervised from a stool and made jokes about Nathan's terrible flipping technique. Sophia got syrup in her hair. Mia laughed for the first time in a week. Isabella burned 3 pancakes in a row and blamed the stove. For one morning, they forgot about the court, forgot about Victor, forgot about everything except being together. Then Monday arrived. Nathan was under the hood of a Camry, replacing a timing belt, when his phone rang. Reed's number. His hands were shaking so badly he almost couldn't answer. "Hello?" Judge Morrison issued her ruling," Reed said without preamble. "Can you and Isabella get to my office in an hour? Just tell me, did we win?" "In person, Nathan. This isn't a conversation for the phone." Nathan drove home doing 20 over the speed limit, found Isabella already waiting by the front door, her face pale. "Reed called you too?" she asked. "Yeah." "What did he say?" "He wants us at his office." They drove in silence, their hands linked across the center console, holding on like they were each other's lifeline. Reed's office felt different this time, heavier. Nathan and Isabella sat across from the lawyer, watching him read from a document neither could see. "Judge Morrison's ruling is 32 pages long," Reed said. "I'll summarize. She acknowledges that the marriage began as a business arrangement. She notes serious concerns about the ethics of such an arrangement. She questions whether the relationship can provide long-term stability given its foundations." Isabella's hand tightened on Nathan's. "However," Reed continued, "she also notes that family court is not concerned with how families form, but rather whether they function in the child's best interest. And after reviewing all testimony, Dr. Chen's report, and character witnesses, she's determined that Sophia's best interest is served by remaining with her mother." Nathan felt the air leave his lungs. "We won?" Isabella whispered. "You won. Full custody remains with Isabella. Victor gets supervised visitation every other weekend, pending completion of a court-ordered parenting course." Reed looked up from the document. "Morrison was clear in her ruling that this decision is contingent on continued stability in the home. Any evidence of fraud, neglect, or harm to the child will result in immediate custody review." "We won," Isabella said again, and this time it wasn't a question. She turned to Nathan and started crying, big, gasping sobs that shook her entire body. Nathan pulled her into his arms and held her while she fell apart with relief. "There's one more thing," Musha Reed said quietly. "Morrison included a note at the end of her ruling. It's unusual, but she wanted it on record." He slid the document across the desk. Nathan read the highlighted section. "While this court cannot condone the deceptive origins of the Hayes-Laurent marriage, it acknowledges that authentic love can emerge from imperfect beginnings, both Mr. Hayes and Ms. Laurent demonstrated genuine commitment to the well-being of both children in their care. This court reminds both parties that a marriage license is not a certificate of guaranteed stability, but rather a promise to try. Mr. Hayes and Ms. Laurent have shown they are trying. That effort is noted and valued." Nathan looked at Isabella. "She basically called us out and gave us her blessing in the same breath." "Sounds about right," Isabella said, laughing through her tears. They drove home with the windows down and the radio up, and for the first time in 2 months, the future felt like something other than a threat. The girls were waiting in the living room with Richard and Mrs. Chen when they walked in. Sophia stood up slowly. Did we win? She asked, her voice barely audible. She asked. Isabella knelt down, pulled her daughter into her arms. We won, baby. You're staying with me. Sophia started crying. Mia joined the hug without being asked. Nathan stood there watching his daughter choose this family, choose Isabella, choose Sophia, and felt something settle in his chest that had been restless for years. Richard raised a glass of water and a mock toast to families that start wrong and end up right. That night, after the girls were asleep, Nathan found Isabella on the back patio, staring at the city lights. Can't sleep? He asked. Too wired. Keep thinking the phone's going to ring and it'll be a mistake. Nathan sat down beside her. It's not a mistake. Sophia's yours. She's safe. Because of you. Because of us. Isabella turned to him. The contract expires in 9 months. What happens then? What do you want to happen? I want you to stay. Not because I'm paying you. Not because Sophia needs a father figure. Because She stopped, took a breath. Because I love you. And I want to see if this thing we accidentally built can actually last. Nathan had thought about this moment for weeks. Thought about what he'd say when the contract came up, when the money was settled, when he had the freedom to walk away. But sitting here with Isabella in the dark, with their daughters asleep upstairs and his father recovering down the hall, walking away felt like the stupidest thing he could possibly do. I'm not going anywhere, he said. You say that now. I mean it. Nathan took her hands. I came here for money, stayed because of the contract, but I'm choosing to stay now because this is where I belong. You, Mia, Sophia, this messy, complicated, started as a live family. This is home. Marcel. Isabella kissed him, and it wasn't tentative or practiced or performed. It was real, messy, imperfect, theirs. I love you, she said against his lips. I love you too. Even though I'm a workaholic billionaire with control issues, and I'm a stubborn mechanic with a temper. We're kind of a disaster. Best kind of disaster there is. They sat on the patio until the city lights started fading in the dawn, talking about the future like they actually had one. 3 weeks later, Nathan moved his clothes from the couch to the bedroom. It wasn't dramatic or romantic, just a progression of the inevitable. One night, Isabella asked if he wanted to sleep in the bed. He said yes, and that was that. The girls adjusted. Mia's anger faded slowly, replaced by cautious trust that Nathan earned one day at a time. She painted her room pale blue. Sophia helped. They fought over whose turn it was to control the music and made a mess with the paint that took a week to clean up properly. Isabella reduced her hours at the company, promoted a COO to handle day-to-day operations, and started actually being present for school events. She missed a board meeting to watch Sophia's choir concert. The board survived. Nathan kept working at the repair shop because fixing engines made sense in a way nothing else did. But he came home earlier now, usually by 5. They ate dinner together every night. Sometimes it was chaotic and someone cried and the food got cold while they argued about homework. But it was theirs. Victor's visitation happened every other weekend at a supervised facility. He complained at first, threatened appeals, made noise about Morrison's bias. But eventually he settled into the routine, and Sophia came home from visits less stressed, more willing to talk about them. One Saturday she told Isabella, Dad's trying to be better. He asked about my week. Actually listened to the answer. That's good, sweetheart. It doesn't mean I want to live with him. I know, yeah. But maybe he's not all bad. Maybe he's just... Sophia struggled for the word. Maybe he's just broken in different ways than you are. Isabella had called Nathan that night and cried about her 7-year-old daughter being wiser than most adults. Richard got stronger. The cancer stayed in remission. He moved into a smaller apartment near the mansion, close enough to visit but far enough to give them space. He and Mrs. Chen started a tentative friendship that involved a lot of arguing about cooking techniques and ended with them watching game shows together. The contract's 1-year mark arrived on a Tuesday. Isabella had the dissolution papers drawn up. Reed's requirement, making it official that the arrangement was over, that anything after this was choice, not obligation. They signed them together at the kitchen table while the girls were at school. So that's it, Isabella said, setting down the pen. We're legally finished being a fake marriage. Guess so. What now? Nathan pulled a small box from his pocket. Inside was a ring, simple gold band, nothing expensive, bought with his own money from the salary Isabella paid him, not the contract money which sat untouched in a trust for Mia. "Now I ask you to marry me again," Nathan said. "For real this time. No contract, no lawyers, no custody battles. Just you and me and the girls and whatever comes next." Isabella stared at the ring, then at Nathan. "Are you serious?" "Completely. We're already married. Legally. Not really. Not in the way that counts." Nathan took her hand. "I want to choose you, Isabella, every day for the rest of my life. I want to fight about whose turn it is to take out the trash and worry about the girls and argue about money and figure out how to be a family without a script. I want all of it with you." Isabella was crying. "That's the worst proposal I've ever heard. It's the only one I've got." "Yes. Yes. Yes. I'll marry you. Again. For real." She laughed through her tears. "We're insane. Completely." He slipped the ring on her finger. It sat next to the expensive diamond she'd bought herself for their first wedding, the fake one. She looked at both rings, laughed again. "We should tell the girls," she said. They picked up Mia and Sophia from school together, drove them to the park, sat them down on a bench. "We have something to tell you," Isabella said. Sophia looked worried. "Is someone dying?" "No, baby. Everyone's fine. Actually, everyone's really good." Isabella glanced at Nathan. "Nathan asked me to marry him again." Mia's eyes narrowed. "You're already married." "The first time was complicated," Nathan said. "This time it's real. We want to do it right. With you guys there. Making a choice to be a family." "Well, what if we don't want you to?" Mia asked. The question hung in the air. "Then we don't," Isabella said simply. "This family only works if all four of us are in it. So if you're not comfortable with this, we'll figure something else out." Mia looked at Sophia. Sophia looked at Mia. Some silent communication passed between them, the kind only sisters could share. "Can I be a flower girl this time?" Sophia asked. "There wasn't a flower girl last time," Isabella said. "Exactly. That's why this wedding needs one." "I want to be one too," Mia said. Nathan felt relief flood through him. "So, you're okay with this?" "We're okay with it," Mia said. "But if you lie to us again, I'm telling everyone." "Deal." They had the second wedding in the backyard of the mansion on a Saturday in spring. No judge, no courthouse, no lawyers. Just a minister, 20 guests, cool, and two flower girls who took their jobs extremely seriously. Isabella wore a simple white dress. Nathan wore a suit that actually fit him properly. Richard walked both girls down the aisle. Mrs. Chen cried through the entire ceremony. When the minister asked if they took each other, they both said yes and meant it in ways they hadn't the first time. The kiss was long enough that the girls made gagging noises. At the reception, Richard gave a toast that made everyone laugh and cry. "To my son, who proved that sometimes the best things in life start with terrible ideas." And to Isabella, who was crazy enough to marry a mechanic twice. Later, when the guests had left and the girls were asleep upstairs, Nathan and Isabella sat on the patio again. "Think we'll make it?" Isabella asked. "The odds aren't great. Second marriages fail more than first ones. We started as a lie. We have baggage. We're both stubborn as hell." "So that's a no?" Nathan pulled her closer. "That's a we'll fight for it. Because that's what we do. We fight for the people we love. Even when it's hard?" "Especially when it's hard." Isabella rested her head on his shoulder. "I never thought I'd be here. Happy. In love. With a family that actually feels like a family." Yeah. You know what the craziest part is?" "What?" "If I hadn't been desperate enough to propose a fake marriage to a mechanic, I never would have found the real thing." She looked up at him. "Sometimes the worst decisions lead to the best outcomes." Nathan thought about that. About the desperation that had driven them both. About the lies they'd told and the truth they'd found. About the family they'd accidentally built while pretending to be something they weren't. "You know what I learned from all this?" he said quietly. "What?" "That love isn't about being perfect. It's about being honest when you're not. It's about showing up for people even when it's inconvenient. It's about choosing each other every day, even when you could choose to walk away." He kissed the top of her head. "We were both trying to buy our way out of our problems. You with money, me with desperation. But you can't buy love. You can only build it. One choice at a time. That's very profound for a mechanic. I have my moments. They sat there as the sun set, two people who'd found each other in the worst way possible and somehow made it work anyway. Inside the house, their daughter slept peacefully. Nathan's father was recovering. The company was thriving. The bills were paid. The custody battle was over. They had fought for this, lied for it, bled for it. And in the end, they'd built something real from the wreckage of their desperation. A family. Not perfect, not without scars, but real. And that was enough. Sometimes, Nathan thought, the best things in life start with terrible decisions. You just have to be brave enough to see them through to the other side. Brave enough to admit when you're wrong. Brave enough to keep trying when everything says you should quit. Love wasn't a fairy tale. It was work. It was showing up. It was choosing someone every single day, even when they drove you crazy, even when things were hard, even when you could walk away. And if you did that work, really did it, honestly did it, sometimes you got lucky. Sometimes the fake thing became real. Sometimes the business arrangement became a marriage. Sometimes the lie became the truth. Nathan Hayes had learned that the hard way. But sitting here with Isabella, with their daughters sleeping upstairs, and a future stretching out before them full of ordinary days and small moments, and the kind of happiness you had to earn, he wouldn't change a single thing. Not the desperation that brought them together. Not the lies that complicated everything. Not the court battle that almost destroyed them. Because all of it, every mistake, every bad decision, every moment of terror and doubt, had led them here. Home.